Yeah.
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 The Batlet.
The Klingon Sword of Honor.
One of the most iconic sci-fi weapons.
And just like all the other iconic sci-fi weapons, probably totally useless in real combat.
Right? So if you've been watching our channel, you probably know that we think most sci-fi and fantasy weapons are totally useless. They look cool, but they're not very practical. And the Batlet would seem to be the poster child for that. However, this is pretty good.
All you Star Trek nerds might have noticed that this isn't a one-to-one creation of the lore-accurate Batlet. It's shorter than the traditional 4 to 5 feet, and it's certainly lighter than the lore-accurate 12 pounds.
The reason for that is that this material doesn't support things that long, and realistically, a 12-pound sword wouldn't work. So we're not testing if the actual Batlet from Star Trek would be useful. We're testing about the idea, this shape. Is this gonna be a useful weapon? And we think it is. We think this is actually a pretty useful weapon. So to explain why the Batlet is useful, we're gonna look at the longsword. The longsword is a very versatile weapon. It has 2 edges, it has a lot of options, it has reach, it can thrust, it can cut, and it also has the ability to do this. This is called a half swording, and this is useful for closing in on an opponent and for walling off a line of attack. The only problem with this is you have to hold the blade, which isn't necessarily gonna cut your hands, but there's a higher probability, and the hand is very exposed. But the Batlet has these guards here, so I can sit in a half swording grip and wall off my opponent while I'm closing safely.
It's also super adaptable. Sure, you can come in and hold it in this super cool traditional half sword grip, but there's also nothing stopping you from just holding it at the end like a normal longsword and getting all the benefits there. This lets you use it at a variety of ranges, almost at will, easily swapping between these grips.
The last thing we like about it is the geometry of the blade itself. These hooks offer you options. If I have somebody cutting in here, I can use these hooks to really redirect my opponent. There's a couple of areas we think the Batlet might be a little bit weak against. One of those being it not being quite as maneuverable and quick to change directions as a normal sword, and the other one being it's weak to defend against thrust because of how much you have to move your body. But we're gonna go ahead and test it against normal swords and other Batlets to see how well this sci-fi icon performs. So we're gonna start off with some slow play. What that means is we're not gonna be going at full speed. We're really trying to get a feel for these weapons and how they move before we go into full sparring, just kind of seeing what the options are. So with that said, here we go. The gaves don't quite fit in the back one.
So you can't hold them with 2 hands with the gaves, but you can do this.
Yeah.
Which is...
So we're finding out immediately that they don't really fit our gloves in both hands in the bottom, but that's okay. That's not gonna be a big deal. All right, here we go, ready? Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was cool. Yeah.
That curve.
Yeah, it curves over.
Yeah. Impossible hand.
Possible hand. A little bit, yeah, I got under the hand.
Yeah. Because I was expecting the top one.
I know, it was really cool. That was a cool one. Yeah, I got a finger weirdly.
Yeah.
That's so effective.
That's so cool.
That's so cool. Okay, grab a sword.
Yeah?
Yeah?
I kind of went down, but the hand...
Yeah. Yeah, okay.
That was just range thing, too.
Yeah, range.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, I ate it, but...
Ate it.
Oh, you okay?
Yeah, good.
You got something, but it wasn't
I'm not
much.
sure. I think it was because I thrusted into it, so you stopped me. I kind of stopped you.
Yeah, you got my finger.
Yeah.
Caught you in transition.
I missed.
Yeah. Whoa! So it got the cross, but it would have hurt. I think it went over a little bit.
I think if it was crossed, though, it was still...
I think the hook would have gotten my hand.
Okay. Thrusting is scary. Yeah.
I got your leg though.
Got it down to
But you
leg.
got me. So I was aiming for your guts.
So that was interesting because I got the parry, but having to go down, I didn't throw it away. I just moved it down.
In slow play, kind of everything we thought was confirmed.
It was great at closing in at a variety of ranges. It was great at doing little tricky one-handed shots with the curve over and around.
I will say, I think a longsword did have it beat.
Mostly just on range though, right?
Yeah, on range. Range is a big thing. So like you could catch them in transition between different guards. But I do think that Batleth versus Batleth was pretty cool.
That was pretty
cool.
cool.
There was that one where it like hooked underneath.
Yeah, it was so cool.
Legitimately a pretty cool weapon. And I think now is time we're gonna fully gear up. We're gonna give this our all and see how it goes. Okay, so we're fully geared up and we're gonna try some Batleth versus Batleth sparring. Here we go.
That was cool because I actually got to rotate yours out. Yeah.
You got me a little bit.
I think mine was weak, all you. Reverse grip!
Reverse grip. It still sucks! Yeah, yours didn't have any power.
No, it didn't. The hook. That was totally because of the hook.
Yeah, it was. It was really cool.
That's so cool. Yeah. Because of the hook, right past the arm.
A little bit on my, yeah, you got my hand pretty good.
All right.
Did I not get that thrust in?
I don't think so.
One of the problems is the hooks do mean you can't thrust in very well.
Well, also because it's so short.
Yeah.
Thrusting only works once you bound.
I had the strong line, but it caught the hook.
Oh, yeah.
So this doesn't thrust well.
Not until you've
closed. Yeah.
That curve right over. Yeah, there it was, right back.
Yeah.
Because you bite up,
yeah,
but it doesn't do anything.
Doesn't do anything. You got me a little bit.
Yeah.
I don't know if it was enough.
I don't know. It was a scalping to the top.
It was through a lot of Batleth.
Yeah. Yeah. Got the thrust that time.
Yeah, I did. But only if I can get it uncontested.
Yeah. Maybe over?
Nah.
All right.
You got my hand eventually.
Yeah.
Eventually got my hand.
One of those, you got a little bit to arm, but it seemed incidental.
This is pretty cool. Do you think you got that?
No, that I cut in the hole past your hand.
That was interesting.
Huh.
Yeah, that was a hand. The hooks are weird.
What's cool about that is because usually with the sword, if I got that, you were going forward.
Yeah.
You'd have kept coming with this hook. I caught it, stopped you.
Yeah,
You couldn't do anything.
Interesting. It was interesting. Oh yeah.
Yeah, you got it. That's so cool. Yeah. One thing that was interesting on that one,
I jammed it up.
is so I came here and I went to grapple. I wound up grabbing this hook.
Yeah.
Which would be terrible for me.
Yeah.
So I can't even like get close and grapple you.
No, it's
at your
interesting.
sword. Did I get that cover?
You didn't get it great, but you touched me a little bit.
So what happened was I came up and tried to shoot under, but
there was contact on me, but
it wound up rolling.
Yeah.
Because of the weight. Yeah, got it first.
It's so
That
cool.
was so cool.
It's so cool. All right, let's talk about it a little bit. Okay, that was so fun.
That was so much fun.
Batleth versus Batleth was really interesting because the principles of swordsmanship still work, but you have weird options. Like I found myself doing the one-handed thrust,
all the
but
time
in this weird hooking way. And then also I found myself like, you'd get into the grapple and it became who had the better structure as you took it. And like, I found that if I went this way and he started to press on me that way, I had the other way. What did you find?
I found that it was, well, first thing, between this and this, I like this more.
I like it more for closing.
Yeah, well, if you're holding it at the two ends, this is worse than this, I found.
I actually...
This will let you engage more.
I think you're right.
Yeah.
I liked this.
This was absolutely fine.
This was only good for, and we figured it out really quick. This guard was really good for this trick shot.
Yeah, this was really, really weird.
But once you get it once, right? Like it's one of those like, so, and like, unlike with reverse grip, because of the way this is curved, there's one shot you can do with this that rises up under the guard and hits there. You couldn't do a whole fighting style in reverse grip, but I will give it to this weapon. There is one shot where you let go of the back hand and it comes up under. However, just like with reverse grip, if you miss it, there's no structure and you're totally screwed.
Yeah. The one thing we couldn't really do because what I was trying to do is doing like a one-handed shot and closing in and grabbing. I think that's possible, but with these gloves, it's not super reliable.
I don't think you're gonna be able to do this, have it hit and grab it while it's in
or you're here and you shoot over and rush in behind it and grab here. I couldn't really do that because of the gloves aren't particularly dexterous, but I also think that doing that in real sparring without gloves would be just as hard because it's moving, they're biting you, but interesting.
What surprised you the most?
What surprised me the most was those one-handed shots were just really good.
Super good, and I think it's because of the curve. I think because it curves over and then that hook's going into them, the way the blade profile is, you parry and it's not enough. If you really want to parry that, you've got to parry here and that leaves the other person open. So if you know that that's how high they're gonna go, you parry high and you flip low. It's really cool.
Super cool stuff.
All right.
It was a lot of fun.
Now we're gonna see how it does against a normal sword. So now we're gonna do longsword versus batleth. The range is actually, the longsword is longer because you have to consider the handles here. So it does have quite a bit of range. It does have quite a bit of range on it considering where the handle is, but we're gonna see how it does, and then we're gonna see how it does against a saber, a one-handed weapon. So I'll start with the batleth and Clark will start with the longsword. Ready?
Yep. The one thing I see is
hands.
There.
Double.
Yeah. Though I couldn't stop you because you were in such a strong spot, there was nothing I could do to stop it afterwards. Yeah. I even parried.
The hook.
That's crazy.
Yeah, that range.
What's interesting is one thing I've already found is the whole thing of like, I'm gonna Zorin in for power, never gonna happen.
Not gonna happen on the batleth.
Never gonna, I'm gonna have to like snipe you, basically.
That feint, I couldn't do anything against. This is slower. Yeah. Thrust, it's weak. It's weak against thrust.
It was a feint thrust.
Feint thrust. Not much. Not much.
I think, almost though.
Yeah.
I think if I just do that every time,
I think so.
Work.
Okay, as an experiment, I think we found a weakness. Thrust. But as an experiment,
which is what we thought.
Experiment, cuts only.
Yeah.
I just want to see.
Okay.
Thrust.
Thrust though. It was a cut into a thrust.
Yeah. You got through my leg on that first one, but it was pretty light.
Weak. The second one, you got me too.
Okay, I think that's enough. Let's switch.
Switch. Yeah.
The range is a problem.
Yeah. You're working hard to close. Yeah.
Yours is better.
Yeah. Yeah. Hook.
Huh?
So the question is, did I get this hook here before?
I got this.
Okay, because I was trying to. Yeah. Okay.
So that
was
turned
interesting.
So what happened? It went through, and as soon as I saw that, what I did was I circled this, and I got this. I probably would have gotten hurt a little bit.
I could have maybe
a little bit, and I got some slices.
Actually tell.
Yeah.
Yeah. The feint thrust, I think. Ate it.
Yours is better. Actually, honestly.
Yeah.
Nah, it's a death sentence.
Yeah, it is.
A little bit on my hand, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Maybe.
I heard a clack.
Because I got the parry here.
I saw
but
it.
the opening was still so wide.
I saw it.
I think you still got it. Yeah.
You got a little bit of afterblow on my hand.
Yeah.
Yeah, but it's a double.
Double.
So against the longsword, it was a mixed kind of thing.
Yeah, the one glaring weakness we thought we saw with thrust was a lot worse or a lot better against it than I originally thought. I thought it'd be bad, but it was like you had no answer, really.
I do have an observation. I played a much more cautious game with the Batleth, and you played a more aggressive game. So you got me more times, but a lot of them were doubles.
Yeah, I got nicked going in order to close.
Yeah. I was doing an experiment to see how the Geisling was, but there was a lot of times where like I'd hit you, and then it'd be a double.
Yeah.
And then a lot of times when I had the Batleth, when I was being cautious, you'd catch me in the cautiousness. So I think it kind of can be a double machine.
And again, that's just going back to effective range.
Yeah.
You could aggress me before I could get, so I had to close really fast. Because I think even if we could hold way back here, it might be better. But having to hold here, our range was already a lot. Because if talking about effective range on that, if you played it this game, you didn't gain anything back.
The other thing I'll say about this is that this couldn't really cover the afterblow. So this, because it's so strong and it's so structured and it's got so much weight to it, if I made a hit, I sometimes could parry, but normally I had to void.
Yeah.
Normally I had to hit you out of distance and then void, because if I tried to parry, even with two hands, if I tried to parry, it's just crashing.
Especially with that hook, I can reach.
Yeah. The hook got us a bunch of weird times.
Yeah.
Like just like around our guard where we're used to a straight
Even
sword.
to hands.
Yeah, because
this was great at attacking hands.
Yeah, we could have probably done more on that. So we're gonna do a little bit of fencing against a one-handed saber to see if there's anything else. Then we're gonna give us conclusions.
Yeah.
A little bit. Yeah.
I think this is what that's gonna be, is targeting hands.
Yeah.
Because especially with this curve, I can whip over your curve.
I'm seeing it already. Yeah. Yeah, it was a double though. Yeah. It's kind of sucking.
Yeah, because hands.
Yeah, hands.
Because I don't want to ever commit, because I know that I can't parry anything.
You can't parry anything. All right, let's keep going. A
little
bit more.
I'm gonna try less shots.
Keep doing it.
Yeah.
But I ate a double.
No, it was on the back, almost flat.
Okay.
It was all you. You closed in time.
A little bit.
Yeah.
Really?
I think you got hand
with
the point through.
This is hard.
Yeah, you got it.
I say this is where you one-handed would where you're at real quick.
Yeah. Swap or?
Swap.
Yeah. Hand under. I had to get so close.
A little bit.
Yeah.
Yeah, I got that.
Maybe over, yeah.
No, I heard it.
Yeah.
I got the
You got the thrust.
But I couldn't do the afterblow. Yeah.
Maybe.
I thought so, but.
Yeah.
Ooh, sorry, buddy.
You're good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Range. Ow.
Are you good?
Yeah.
Yeah. Over.
I've got to go fast.
Yeah. Yeah, over. Yeah.
Yeah, but you got me too.
Yeah, easy.
This one was a little bit weirder. I think that the saber is an interesting one because it didn't have the ability to parry the Batleth.
It didn't have the parry to even say yes and go beat for beat, tempo for tempo.
It had to do uninteractive fencing.
The only options it had was sniping the hands or backing up, maintaining range, and using your longer reach to hit you. If you close, this had no shot. So it even couldn't parry.
It was interesting because both had different approaches. Clark's got my hands more, and I think that's because Clark is used to doing, he's a better longsword fencer than I am, and he's used to being able to guard his hands in the longsword position. And then I got you more with distance and range because I'm a saber fencer and I'm used to that.
Yeah, your retreating footwork was as fast as I could aggress, and because you had more reach, you could say no. You could stay back the whole time and wait until an opening. Because the entire time I was closing to protect the hand, I couldn't just push it and go. Yeah. I had to constantly be working, moving around, or my hand would get hit.
I was trying to treat this more like we did against the longsword, where because it doesn't have a curve, I was able just to aggress forward, and my hands got picked up doing that because the saber can hook around. And I think that against a one-handed lighter weapon, you've got to be more active. But at that same point, Clark did get me with, like, it's not like no one got anything. I do think the saber came out ahead.
The saber came out ahead just because effective range.
Yeah, but that doesn't make this a bad weapon. I mean, the saber comes out ahead like as a longsword too.
Part of it is also both of us are quicker on our back foot than our front, so we both have the ability to back up faster than you could come in. And there's a lot of fencers where their whole style is I can aggress faster than you can back up. That's not how we fight, so our mileage may vary, but that's where our observations.
All right, so to conclude all of this, the batleth as a weapon.
Pretty effective. What we thought it would do well at, it did well at. What we thought it was weak to, it was weak to. But these problems aren't unique to the batleth.
Yeah, I mean, other swords also aren't as good at aggressing or defending, or et cetera, et cetera. Everything kind of has its specialty. The things that I'll say about this, let's go over them again. This has an incredibly strong presence in the bind. If you get someone else here, you are not gonna beat them because
with
of the
one
way
hand or two. Because there were times, even with these one-handed shots, I could parry into it, lock you out, and still shoot because there's so much weight.
There's so much weight now,
and the way it curves.
Because of that, it's less maneuverable.
Yes.
So you are committed to your attack. The cool things about this, though, is because of the angles, there's surprises. So here, shooting that one-handed shot, it shoots in an arc and it can go over somebody's defenses. You also got these cheeky little shots underneath. The ability to change your hands and do stuff with it. And then nearing the end, I was actually using it as a shield in one hand to be able to do some cool stuff with it.
Unironically, offhand batleth would be a monster.
Actually, like if you wanted to do like offhand batleth and maybe like side sword, this would be pretty effective. Things that it wasn't good at, hands are exposed.
Yeah.
To wrap around shots.
Wrap around shots.
But no more so than other weapons of its like.
Yeah, this is the big thing. If they cut down, your hand was protected. The way the batleth hands were exposed is the same way it's exposed with the longsword or anything else.
And then the other things that it was weak against is thrusts.
Especially redirecting thrusts.
It's not maneuverable in redirecting thrusts. If you don't get it on the first try, you're probably not gonna get it. And then the last thing was range.
Range.
It actually is shorter than most weapons. It's shorter than a saber.
Especially because usually you have total length, but you're not holding it down here.
Yeah.
You're holding it here. So in reality, this is what, like 2 foot of effective range?
We found that our gloves didn't let us grip it like this, but this is also kind of heavy. This was very comfortable and this worked well, but this is a very short blade. The thing that made it useful though is that these hooks made so if you caught something, you could control it pretty well.
Yeah.
And then you have the surprise option of launching the one-handed thrust.
Against each other, they was a lot of fun.
Oh my gosh.
Against other swords, it lacked range.
I'd say against other swords, it was a little bit frustrating, but surprising. I wouldn't say that it's better than any of the swords that currently exist.
No.
But the cool thing about the batleth
could stand up on its own.
Well, the cool thing about the batleth was it was kind of like that ritualized dueling weapon. So batleth versus batleth was cool and fun.
It's kind of like the dueling shield v dueling shield.
Yeah.
You wouldn't ever use it outside, but against each other it was super cool. And this could hold up in theory against something else.
Yeah, so I think this is considered kind of a gladiatorial style weapon, something that's designed specifically to do combat in a ritualized setting, but it holds up well enough against other swords. So these are from Purple Heart Armory. You can go buy them yourselves, and I highly suggest you do because this is a blast to do.
Super cheap too.
And also, if you like what we do here, we do have a Patreon, and it's super helpful so that we can keep affording making videos with silly things like batleths. So go ahead and check us out at patreon.com/sellswordarts. So another weird takeaway from this video, and one I didn't expect, is we found a double-bladed sword that actually doesn't suck. It's just from Star Trek.